The relationship between us and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is a relationship of abd and rabb, slave and master. And that means that the default state we are supposed to be having when it comes to our Creator is a state of humility and humbleness. But not knowing where that humility and humbleness ends becomes catastrophic when it comes to our relationships and engagements in other spheres of life. Some people feel stuck because they never think that they are enough, and that means that they're humble to everything, humble to everyone, to the extent that they fall low on self-esteem to self-doubt. So they don't believe in themselves because of the humbleness they have put out to everything and everyone. And others never stop to reflect because they feel complete. They feel that like they are enough and not in need of anyone. And this means they are going to be full of themselves in pride and in arrogance. And that will mean they are going to compromise on their initial and default relationship they have with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That these two extremes, the extreme of falling so low to self-doubt or so high on yourself by being arrogant and so proud of what you're doing, these are two deadly extremes that affect our relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and our relationship with the people around us. Most clearly, when we're talking about arrogance and pride, the example that is clear-cut in the Quran is the example of Iblis, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks about him and he says, Aba wastakbara. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala commanded him to bow down in respect to Adam alayhi salam, he refused the command. He istakbara. He sought the bigger position. He sought to be bigger. So the pride and arrogance made him so full of himself that he cannot bow down to respect Adam alayhi salam. And someone can be so humble to everyone and everything to the extent that they cannot even put out what they can do. And to contradict that and put us in the middle ground is an example of Yusuf alayhi salam, who is put out of prison, brought to the midst of this king who wants to make him his vice or give him a big position close to be his advisor. And then Yusuf alayhi salam decides to front what he is capable of doing in sheer confidence. And he says, Ij'alni ala khaza'inil ard. Put me to the treasuries of the land. Inni hafidhun alim. I have the knowledge. I know how to protect the food. I know how to keep the food. And on top of that, I know how to do this because I've been doing this previously. So Yusuf alayhi salam comes out confidently to put out the skills and the qualities that he has, the credentials that he has confidently. He's not low on self-esteem and he's not being arrogant when he says this. And the balance between these two deadly scenarios is confidence. That's what we need to be as believers. We need to be confident. We don't need to be arrogant, and we don't need to be low on self-esteem. We don't need to be in a state of self-doubt, because we are the middle nation.